I'm Casey Reed, 32 years old, standing in my Albuquerque apartment, pregnant and proud, surrounded by friends and family. It was supposed to be a joyful night celebrating our new home. But then my sister grabbed the microphone. "I've already spoken to a lawyer," she declared, her voice slicing through the chatter. "From this moment on, I am the owner of this house." She turned to the crowd, pointing straight at me. "She is no longer welcome here." My heart stopped. My husband just sipped his wine, his eyes carefully avoiding mine. Under the table, my best friend's hand found mine, her grip tight. The room went silent, every gaze locked on me as if waiting for me to crumble. I could feel the weight of their stares. Judgment, betrayal. Her words weren't just a claim. They were a knife cutting through everything I had built. I should have seen it coming. The late-night texts, the whispered calls, the manner in which she stayed over at my house as if it was hers. But I was pregnant, tired, holding on to the concept of family being about trust. I was mistaken. My husband's silence yelled more than her words. I waited for her to finish, my heart pounding. In my mind, I counted 3.2.1. Silence engulfed the room. I stood my hands firm and took my purse and grabbed something no one in the room anticipated. This wasn't the end. It was the start of my struggle. A struggle to defend the child I had within me, to reclaim justice, to unveil the masks of deception lurking within my family. From that day onwards, I realized that I could no longer remain the weak woman they had perceived me to be. I would struggle irrespective of the price. Does this remind you of a person in your own family? Leave your comments below. Sometimes one sentence can turn it all around. 6 months prior to the party, I thought Derek and I were walking into a whole new beginning. We had just finalized the documents on a 3-bedroom apartment in Albuquerque, New Mexico, homey, warm from its spacious windows, most of all. The first home we could really claim as our own after years of renting. To me, it was like a dream finally unfolding, made even more special with a baby on the way. In my head, I could already picture our daughter's nursery walls a soft yellow, a white crib nestled by the window to greet the morning sun. Derek Blair. My husband appeared every bit as thrilled, at least initially. We spent late nights together, discussing how to configure the rooms, picking out color swatches, giggling over offbeat furniture brochures. But as weeks went by, something changed. Derek began to distance himself. He'd return home late, his phone ringing nonstop, his eyes fixed on the screen. When I asked him who he was texting, he'd shrug and say, "Just work." I wanted to believe him. My hormones, because I was pregnant, I didn't want to appear paranoid. Then my sister Sheila began texting me out of the blue. She'd always been the bossy type, years older, and always doing as she pleased. "Did you pay the mortgage yet?" she'd text. Or, "You sure you can afford that place?" Her questions hurt, like she didn't think I could take care of my own life. I shrugged it off, telling myself she was just being her controlling self. But it wasn't over yet. One Saturday, I returned from grocery shopping. My arms loaded with bags to discover Sheila sitting in my living room. She was standing with a measuring tape, scanning my curtains like she belonged there. "These won't do," she said, not even glancing my way. "You have to have something nicer for a house like this." I stood there, paralyzed, my stomach churning. How did she even get in? When I questioned, she waved her hand. Derek handed me a key. Said you wouldn't mind. I minded greatly, but I bit my tongue not wanting to fight with my sister when pregnant. Derek wasn't any assistance. That evening, I questioned him about why he gave Sheila a key without consulting me. He muttered something about family assisting and dropped it. His phone rang again. He turned it face down on the table. I couldn't help but feel something was wrong. Sheila's texts continued, more and more intrusive. You should refinance the loan. She had written once. I know a guy who can get you a better rate. How did she even find out about our loan? I hadn't mentioned anything to her. When I told Derek, he told her she's just trying to be helpful. Casey, relax. But I couldn't relax. The way Sheila spoke about my apartment, as if it was hers to run, made me ill. Monica, my college best friend, picked up on the change in me. We had coffee one morning and I unloaded everything. Derek's reserve, Sheila's constant interference. Monica's eyes snapped into focus as she stirred her latte. Casey, that's not healthy. Sheila's acting like she has a claim on your apartment. You need to keep an eye on her. I nodded, but deep down, I didn't want to believe my sister could have bad intentions. We'd grown up close, sharing secrets and sleepovers. Sure. Sheila could be bossy, but malicious. I wasn't ready to go there. Still. Monica's words stuck with me. I started paying closer attention to Sheila's comments, her uninvited visits. One day, I caught her flipping through papers on my kitchen counter bills, mortgage documents. Just curious, she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. My discomfort coiled a tight knot in my chest. I tried to talk myself out of it. That family did not betray family, but whenever Sheila appeared, whenever Derek avoided answering my questions, that knot grew tighter. I was beginning to wonder what they were hiding and why. One afternoon, I arrived home to discover Sheila in my living room. She was restacking my throw pillows, throwing the blue ones I'd selected onto the floor as if they didn't matter, her heels clicking loudly against my hardwood, her eyes roving around the room with a scowl. This place needs a serious redo, she said, not even glancing at me, standing in the doorway. Grocery bags heavy against my arms, my pregnancy making every step a task. Sheila, what are you doing here? I asked. My voice strained. She turned her smile cold and calculating. I'm assisting Casey. This apartment is worth more than your decisions. My chest seared. Helping? She hadn't invited herself in, hadn't even raped at the door, when I insisted on knowing how she'd let herself in. She shrugged. Derek had given me a key, told me it was no problem because I'd assisted with the down payment. My stomach contorted. Helped? That was not true. I'd invested all of my savings made from years of late evenings working my marketing job into this apartment. Sheila hadn't put in a dime. I put the bags down. Shaking hands. You didn't assist with anything I mentioned. Straining to maintain a steady voice. Sheila raised an eyebrow unimpressed. Oh. Casey. Don't be melodramatic. I've been backing you and Derek for years. This house is as much mine as it is yours. Her words sting like a slap. Backed us. She'd never loaned us money. Never given more than her incessant opinions. I needed to scream. But I suppressed my pregnancy, leaving me feeling brittle, like one misstep would shatter me. That evening, I waited for Derek to arrive home. He strolled in, his phone ringing as ever. Gave only a cursory glance my way. Why is Sheila allowed to have a key? I demanded, my voice tinged with annoyance. He let out a deep breath, relaxing his tie. She's just trying to assist Casey. You're being too hysterical. Too hysterical? I watched the room empty of air. He turned aside, checking his phone once more, and I saw a glimpse of an email notification before he angled the screen. The next morning, while Derek was showering, I took his laptop, my heart racing as I opened his email, something I had never done before. There it was, a thread with Sheila entitled Apartment Docs. He'd emailed her our mortgage agreement, the one that I'd signed a loan for because Derek's credit wasn't adequate. Why would he send that? my hands shaking as I read their exchanges. "She doesn't need to know," Sheila had penned. "We'll take care of it." Take care of what? I took a picture of the screen with my phone, my head spinning. This was more than meddling. This was organized, something orchestrated. I phoned Monica, my best friend, met in a diner close to my workplace, over greasy fries and lousy coffee. I explained everything. Sheila's unwanted visit, her assertion of the down payment, the key, the emails. Monica's eyes went wide, her fork hovering in midair. "Casey, this isn't right. Sheila's behaving like she owns your house and Derek's standing for it. You need to verify those documents, ensure nothing's been altered." Her words ran shivers down me. Verify the documents. I hadn't even considered that. And begin to keep a record. Monica joined her voice stern. Each text, each visit, each strange thing Sheila does. "You need evidence." I nodded. My throat constricted. Evidence. The word hung heavy, as if I were gearing up for a battle I didn't desire. Back home, I began saving everything. I screenshot Sheila's texts. Her latest one said, "You should repaint the walls. Casey, I know a contractor." I saved the photo of Derek's email to her, the one with our contract. I even started noting down her visits in a journal, like the time she showed up with a stack of paint samples, saying, "I'm just planning ahead for when this place is mine." Mine. The word echoed in my head each time, making my blood run colder. I felt like a stranger in my own home, driven out by my own husband and sister. Tonight, I'd stay awake, my hand on my stomach, expecting my baby to kick. This apartment was where she was supposed to be, our sanctuary, but with Sheila's key in her pocket and Derek's secrets mounting, it was like a war zone. I didn't know what they were going to do, but I did know. I wasn't going to let them have what was mine. The housewarming day didn't feel right from the beginning. I awoke with a knot in my belly, my pregnancy slowing down each step. The Albuquerque apartment was prepared. String lights twinkled around the balcony, trays of chips and dip across the kitchen counter. Soft music playing in the background. Guests began arriving, their laughter and chattering filling the room. Ellen Morse, my cousin, slipped past the door, granting a swift hug and a smile that went away too quickly. Monica assisted me in ordering drinks, her eyes scanning around as if she sensed the tension that I was attempting to keep at bay. Derek was present, but half absent, his fingers stuck to his phone. Steering clear of our guests' small talk, I pretended to smile, welcoming everyone, trying to dislodge the unease crawling up my back. This was our new house, our new beginning. But Sheila's shadow loomed over it all. She turned up late, sweeping in with a cutting smirk, her gaze sweeping the room like she was judging every inch. Halfway through the night, Sheila snatched the microphone from the karaoke machine we'd rented for fun. The chatter stopped all eyes turning to her. "I have an announcement," she said, her voice cold and commanding. "I've spoken with a lawyer. As of today, I'm the rightful owner of this apartment." My breath caught my heart slamming against my ribs. She pointed at me, her eyes glinting. "Casey doesn't belong here. She can't pay for this dump, and it's time she got out." The words are like a slap, each word cutting through me. Gasps filled the air. Ellen's hand dropped onto her glass, her mouth agape. Monica's hand locked onto my arm, her grip hard, whispering, "Breathe." Casey. But I couldn't breathe. My face on fire, my pulse pounding in my ears. Derek stood in the corner drinking his wine, his eyes fixed on the floor. Not a word, not a look. His silence screamed louder than Sheila's voice. The room seemed to be closing in. Neighbors, co-workers, family, all looking at me, their whispers humming like static. Sheila's smirk spreading her confidence unshaken like she'd already taken over my home. My mind reeling, reliving her lies about the down payment, her unwanted visits, the emails she'd sent to Derek. It all made sense, a scheme I'd not anticipated. My hands shook, my body transfixed in place. I wanted to scream to get answers, but my throat was constricted, my mind a knotty mess. How could my sister do that? How could Derek simply stand there? Monica's hand remained on my arm, her voice low but firm. "We'll get through this," she whispered. Ellen's eyes locked onto mine wide with shock, her fingers gripping her glass as if it could break. The murmurings of the crowd increasing, some of the guests squirming uncomfortably, others leaning in, waiting for me to break down. Sheila stood erect, her chin raised as if defying me to argue. But I was unable to move, unable to speak. The weight of what she said. Derek's deception. Everyone's eyes I knew seemed to hold me frozen in place. My home, my sanctuary seemed to be slipping from my grasp. I couldn't prevent it. A week after the party, I couldn't help but think back to Sheila's words, her voice still ringing in my ears, sharply and smugly, taking over my apartment as her own. I sat on the couch at our Albuquerque home, my hand lying on my stomach, sensing my baby's tiny kicks. The string lights of the housewarming still clung to the balcony, mocking the party that had become a horror. Derek was hardly present, leaving early and returning home late, his phone always ringing. I attempted to concentrate on work, but my mind kept returning to that evening, to his silence while Sheila embarrassed me. Then on Monday, Paula Hart, my colleague from the marketing department, invited me for lunch. Her message was enigmatic. "We have to talk. It's about Derek." My stomach lurched, but I consented, hoping it was nothing serious. At a tiny diner close to the office, Paula pushed her phone down the table. I had seen them the previous week. She said quietly, "Derek and Sheila in a cafe downtown." She showed me a picture. Derek and Sheila sitting close, her hand on his arm, their faces inches away. My throat constricted. Paula paused, then opened a screenshot of a text exchange she had overheard. Snapped. It was from Derek's phone to Sheila. "Casey's clueless. Once we push her out, the apartment's ours." My hands trembled as I looked at the words. Not betrayal alone, but a scheme to steal my home. Paula's eyes gentled. "I'm sorry. Casey, I couldn't not tell you." That night, I waited until Derek was sleeping. His phone on the nightstand unlocked a rare lapse, my heart racing as I scrolled through Derek's messages to Sheila. There were dozens for months. "She doesn't deserve the place," Sheila wrote. "We'll make it ours." Derek replied, "Just keep her distracted. I'll handle the rest." My chest burned, tears blurring the screen. They weren't just plotting against me. They were together, every late night, every dodged question, every smirk from Sheila. It all made sense. I felt like the ground had vanished beneath me. My own husband and sister tearing apart the life I'd built. I couldn't confront Derek yet. I needed more. The next day, I called Sheila, my hands shaking as I pressed the record button on my phone. "Why are you doing this?" I asked, maintaining my steady voice. She laughed cold and hard. "Casey, you're in over your head. That apartment, it's too much for you. I'm just fixing things." I pressed harder. "Fixing by reclaiming my home." She paused, then her voice dropped to a low level. "You should have gotten out of the way. Derek and I will fix it." My blood chilled. She'd confessed it, her intention to push me out. I saved the recording, my heart pounding, but my determination firm. I met Monica at her apartment that night, my phone with screenshots and the audio file. She listened to the recording, her jaw clenched. "This is revolting," she said, her tone raging. "They're trying to steal your life. Casey, you must fight back." She assisted me in putting everything together. Screenshots of texts, the photo taken by Paula, the mortgage agreement with my name, Sheila's recorded confession. "You've got enough for a lawyer," Monica said, her eyes steady. "They can't get away with this." I nodded my throat tight. The betrayal cut deep. Derek, who I'd built a future with, Sheila, my own sister, working together to destroy me. But something shifted inside me. I wasn't just hurt. I was angry. This was my home, my baby's future. They'd underestimated me. I was done being their pawn. I'd fight not just for the apartment, but for myself. I moved and packed my bags the following morning to Monica's apartment. The Albuquerque air was oppressive as I departed the house I'd struggled to win through my pregnancy, causing every step to hurt. Being under the same roof with Derek after his betrayal was intolerable. Monica greeted me with a tight hug, her spare room ready with a bed and fresh towels. "You're safe here," she declared, her voice firm but resolute. I nodded my throat too hard to talk. That afternoon, I sat with a lawyer, Laura Martinez, in an office block downtown. I set out all the evidence: Sheila's false accusation about the down payment, her unwelcome visits, the email she had sent to Derek regarding our mortgage agreement, the recording in which she confessed to wanting to settle me to accept the apartment. I also presented Laura with the picture Paula had sent the texts proving Derek and Sheila's affair and their scheme to dispose of me. "This is serious," Laura said, her pen tapping on the desk. "We could bring charges against Sheila for fraud and attempting to forge documents of property, and against Derek for invasion of privacy for releasing the contract." My heart raced. But her assurance provided me with a glimmer of hope. 2 days later, my phone rang with alerts. Sheila had posted on Facebook a lengthy diatribe accusing me of leaving Derek behind and being incapable of owning the apartment. Casey walked out on her husband, leaving him with nothing, she wrote. "She doesn't deserve that place." My gut turned as I read the falsehoods, the entries mounting from strangers and casual acquaintances. Some declared me selfish. Others doubted my sanity. The betrayal hurt more than I believed. My own sister painting me as the villain. I wanted to scream to tell the world the truth, but Monica stopped me. "Don't engage," she said, her hand on my shoulder. "We'll fight this with facts, not posts." I took a shaky breath, trusting her judgment. But the public humiliation burned. At work, Paula pulled me aside during a break. I found something she whispered, handing me a printed email. It was from Sheila to a local real estate company, saying she owned my apartment as a partner and asking for a title transfer. The document full of falsifications, my signature tampered with to make it appear authentic, and an invented history of payments. "I obtained this from a colleague at the agency," Paula told me, her gaze keen. "Sheila's been attempting to push this through in secret," my hands trembling as I read it. The brazenness of her scheme coming home to me. Paula's testimony was another piece of the puzzle proof of Sheila's fraud. I thanked her, my voice barely steady. Sent the email to Laura immediately, that evening. I asked Derek to meet me at a park near Monica's place. I needed answers. Needed them on record. My phone in my pocket recording as he approached, his face tense. "Why Derek?" I asked, my voice low but firm. "Why Sheila? Why my home?" He shifted, avoiding my eyes. "It wasn't supposed to go this far," he muttered. "Sheila and I, it just happened. She said we could sell the apartment, split the money." My chest constricted, but I stayed even-voiced. "You had planned to steal it from me," I said. He didn't deny it, his silence proving everything. I fumbled Casey. He finally spoke up, but Sheila pushed me into it. I ended the recording. My heart pounding. His admission was raw, unquestionable. Another tool for my case. Back at Monica's. We laid out all the evidence on her kitchen table. The mortgage agreement in my name. Sheila's recorded statement. Derek's texts. Paula's picture. the falsified real estate email. Now Derek's confession. Monica put them all in folders, her hand steady as she named each file. "This is airtight," she said. Her voice firm. "Laura's going to shred them in court." She regarded me, her eyes softening. "You're stronger than you know." Casey. I hadn't felt strong. Felt broken. Betrayed by the two people I'd trusted most. But as I regarded the evidence at the truth, I'd battled to reveal something changed. This wasn't about the apartment anymore. It was about taking back my life, my dignity for myself and my baby. I was prepared for the battle that lay before me, no matter how dirty it became. The courtroom was less busy than I anticipated. The Albuquerque sun streaming through high windows, creating stark shadows on the wooden benches. I sat next to Laura, my hands tightly wound in my lap, my pregnancy causing me shift uncomfortably. Across the room, Sheila and Derek sat rigidly shunning my sight. Laura stood her voice firm as she argued our case. She displayed the key evidence text messages between Derek and Sheila, conspiring to steal my apartment, the recording of Sheila admitting she wanted to get rid of me, Derek's confession in the park, and the forged email Sheila sent to the real estate company with my forged signature. Each one did seem like a brick being used to construct a wall of fact that could not be denied. The judge's face was expressionless, but I noticed Sheila's hands flicker, her facade crumbling. Derek's jaw clenched, his eyes staring at the ground. Just like during the housewarming, when it was their turn. Sheila's attorney claimed she had acted in good faith, stating the apartment was a joint investment. Derek's attorney claimed he had only shown the contract for Sheila's protection. Laura deconstructed their assertions, highlighting the false documents and timeline of their relationship. The judge slouched forward, her voice curt as she asked Sheila about the email. Sheila stuttered, her face blushing, incapable of defending the phony signature. Derek remained silent, providing no defense. Following what seemed like hours, the judge decreed the apartment belonged to me, its ownership solely in my name. Sheila and Derek had no legal right. The gavel banged and a weight was lifted off my chest. I looked over at Monica in the viewing area, her proud and firm nod. The judge was not finished. Sheila's fake email led to a criminal investigation of fraud. Whispering trailed her out of the courtroom, her reputation within our community disintegrating. Neighbors who had read her social media postings now averted their faces, their confidence in her lost. Derek was told to pay compensatory damages for invading my privacy, a financial blow that left his face white. Immediately after the decision, I went to Laura's office and signed divorce documents, my hand firm, regardless of the pain in my heart. Derek wasn't the man I had wed. I wasn't going to let him determine what I wanted. The documents were filed that same afternoon, breaking our connection forever. 2 months later, I gave birth to my girl, Ivy, in a hospital room filled with light. Monica was there holding my hand as I cradled Ivy in my arms, her small fingers wrapping around mine. Her name suited her, a symbol of growth. After all that pain, I got a new apartment in Albuquerque, a smaller apartment with big windows and a balcony just for us. Monica assisted me with unpacking, her laughter filling the place as we put up new curtains and arranged Ivy's crib. Sheila and Derek were out of my life. No calls, no messages, no apologies. I didn't require them. The lies, the betrayal, the public shame. They had attempted to destroy me, but I'd held strong. The truth had been my armor. My strength had gotten me through. Ivy and I were beginning anew.